Two.
Two and two. Is it okay? Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. 2 and 4. Thank you.
Ja 9:63.
Four and 4. Thank you. No. Thank you.
Ja 324.
324.
Oikein.
So a very good morning, welcome to Kontiolahti. We're in the sort of central east of Finland. We're some 40 k's or so from the Russian border, just north of Joensuu. Towns to the west, we have Jyväskylä, which is the sort of Loughborough of Finland, where they do all the research for physiology. Fascinating place. There's not a lot here except trees and lakes. And of course, a biathlon stadium. Crowd still less than we would have liked, but hopefully over the weekend we'll see a few more people. There's Vetle Sjøstad Christiansen taking the first leg for Norway. Big responsibility for him, but if there's one man that can cope with any position on a relay, it is him. So they're underway, and 20 teams will settle down. I suspect we'll see one of the better teams go out front and control the pace. And that could well be Christiansen of Norway. Perrault of France is going first. Strello of Germany. Interesting, Mike, that a lot of teams have put their weakest athlete on the first leg.
It certainly appears that way. The French team on paper, although he did come 25th, Perrault for France in second place. It's quite a lot of pressure for a 21-year-old. I would often question that, and I did at the Olympics, and it didn't work out for the team that put a very inexperienced athlete first, because this is where more pressure is. You've got to fight your space on the track. A lot of tension in this pack racing, and then the physical aspect when you're coming in over your comfort zone. It's a real risk for the first time coming in the lying down position.
Yeah, I think one of the factors is that, as you say, this is the only genuinely head-to-head race leg of the relay, and you tend to ski at someone else's pace rather than your own.
So right, the weaker teams, the slightly weaker athletes, the instinct is I've got to live with this pace, so you tend to push yourself a lot higher than your normal comfort zone. But actually Christiansen has the ability to just dictate here, and he's calmed the pace down a little. It'll pick up again up this next climb.
Quite a lot of artificial snow laid down, and I don't think we're in any danger of running out of snow over the weekend. The forecast is for temperatures just to drop a little bit over the next 3 days. A day off tomorrow, and then sprints and pursuits on Saturday and Sunday. I see a little article in the paper saying that there are more injuries to cross-country skiers now that there's so much more artificial snow, and I'm guessing that's because the water content in the artificial snow is higher, so when the temperatures really drop, you've got a harder packed track.
Oh, it's horrible, isn't it? The machine-made snow, when it's been transformed into the big sugary conditions that we'll see on the wall coming up the steep climb. But yes, on the flats, it's like skiing on concrete. Horrible.
There's always a few French fans around, and they've had certainly their fair share of success over recent years. Quentin Fillon-Maillet, the overall champion last year, he starts last today for France, taking over from Emilien Jacquelin. Now, Jacquelin, Mike, 28th in the individual, missed what, 4 shots in the first 3 shoots. He was out of it.
Yeah, he's impulsive, and he admits that. He's quite an impulsive and reactive athlete, and I don't think the individual suits his mentality, but the spare rounds today, he'll be attacking full on. I think this race really does suit Jacquelin. Just thinking of the snow, Patrick, this venue, it's refrigerated under the track here, and look at the natural snow outside as we come to the steepest climb. The venue would not be able to stage this World Cup had they not stored 80,000 cubic meters, 2 massive piles of 40,000. And 4 weeks ago they had it spread out, and they were losing 5 centimeters depth of snow. They had a meter placed on the tracks, and in the warmer conditions 4 weeks ago, 5 centimeters every day they were losing.
Yeah, it's an expensive business. Interesting to hear what the environmentalists have to say about it. But it's become a necessary part of the season, which tends to get shorter and shorter over time. You don't really notice it because it happens so slowly, but certainly the end of the season coming a little earlier. But I sort of feel that the beginning of the season is always tricky, Mike. Come the end of March, actually there's still plenty of snow around. There is, and they do stockpile it, especially here. They get all the natural snow they can to put it into their big snow mountains, insulate them throughout the summer, and scoop it back out onto the tracks in the first week of October. This feels good, the descent here, now the breathing recoveries. Look at the top 5 teams, top 4 teams here beginning to get some separation. Yeah, Christensen looks as though he's cruising, but that is evidence that the pace is pretty stiff. Is that Team 9, the Austrians, with David Komatz just letting a little bit of a gap open up. So we've got Norway, France, Sweden, and then I think that's Italy behind Sweden, or is it Germany? It's Germany, actually, behind Sweden, with Justus Strello. The youngsters doing okay at the moment. The first big test coming up shortly as they come in towards the range for the first shoot.
Well, Christensen is making it look so easy, but that pace is tough. Only 3 further athletes staying with his pace. The rest, they're suffering.
Yeah, Christensen took the anchor leg in March. Johannes Tingesbø had finished his season by then. So it was very much a B team for Norway, but they came out on top. And on that occasion, he shot 0-0. Sweden first to strike. And Peppy Femling underway.
That was incredibly fast from Femling, and 5 out of 5. Well, it almost made Christensen look like he was sleeping on the range.
Well, when you're first in, you can afford to take your time. It's much more important to hit the targets than to gain 2 seconds by shooting fast. But good shooting nonetheless from the 30-year-old Swede. 21st in the individual. Missed 1 shot in each of the first 2 shoots, but then went clean. And he's got himself a 4-second lead. I imagine that's going to get swallowed up, but he's obviously saved himself a little bit of work by getting out in front.
Switzerland, what a pity. They wanted a good positive start today, but it certainly doesn't look that way.
Yeah, Berchelt has had problems with his prone for the last couple of seasons. I think he only came in at 75% hit rate for the prone position last year. His stand was better than that, but you really need to be mid to high 80s to be competitive, and there are quite a few athletes who finished the season over 90% hit rate in the prone position.
Czech Americans on the penalty loop as well. That was Cervenka, the 23-year-old on the penalty loop.
So the first shoot completed. Sweden with just a little lead. The chasers are slowly closing it down. It was 4.1. I imagine when they go through the split, we'll get some idea.
Delighted to see that Kaukinas is Lithuania, Team Lithuania, in 3rd place as he left the range. Still there.
So Femling going okay. Strelo of Germany doing the donkey work, closing that gap down. Kaukanas of Lithuania doing really well. And Christiansen up in fourth, ahead of Perot, who's still some 5 seconds back. 12 is Mikiska from the Czech Republic. Krishmarsh is still there for the Czech Republic. Stravecki, and then we've got Maracek, who takes the anchor leg for them. They're going through a sort of rebuilding phase as well after, what, 5-6 years of really good performances. The big climb.
It's a tough climb. You've had the recoveries from the chute, fairly easy out of the range. And then this is back into the serious climbs. The legs will begin to feel the tension. Look at the tension there for America. Cervenka missing one target. A lot of work to do. Here's the other athlete to use all 3 spares and still find one target remaining, so penalty loop tie, and that's about 24 seconds today. It'll change, obviously, athlete to athlete, average about 24. Quite interesting, the German team, Patrick, leaving out Zöbel, David Zöbel, who finished on the podium, his first ever podium. Maybe just saving. He's the youngest or the least experienced at this level.
I was slightly surprised by that, but it's a busy weekend. He's obviously in pretty good shape, and I think just saving him for the weekend. Saturday, Sunday, sprint pursuit.
And what a luxury to leave the athlete out who finished third on day one of racing. But I think I don't think the team will be any weaker without him. It's a very strong German team with the World Championships in Oberhof in February.
Yeah, got a good feeling about the Germans today, and Strelo really is their key leg. Kern, Doll, Ries. It's a strong finish. Finland with Jaakko Ranta. And they're at 16.3. You sure have to know your national flags around here to get a full idea of who is where. New captions right the way throughout the season. It's going to take, certainly going to take us a couple of races to get used to them and be able to get all the information we want. But there is plenty of information there, as Germany's Justus Strelo, what was he, nearly 3 minutes off the pace in the individual with 2 misses, so only a minute or so down on the ski speed over the 20k. That's not bad at all. 67th in the World Cup standings last year.
In the background, so impressed with Canada. Adam Runnels, the man from Calgary, only 24. This is a strong Canadian team, and he hasn't quite managed to bridge the gap to this lead 5, but he's there or thereabouts. Pace hasn't really slowed down. Yes, it's backed off ever so slightly, but in terms of recovery, they're taking the big risk because of these 3 spare rounds.
Now, we've got a few fans in the background, but this is sort of reminding me of COVID times when we weren't allowed any fans in the stadiums.
Yes, I think the big loss this year is, well, the Russian fans coming over. St. Petersburg, not so far away. Used to be many, many fans in the stadium from Russia.
Well, that is rapid shooting from the French and Eric Perot. He gets 5 out of 5. He is away, and the pressure is now on the rest. Germany, Sweden, Lithuania, Canada have all missed. Christiansen misses number 5, and so an excellent start for the French with Claude Jacquelin Filmaillet to come 2, 3 and 4. It's starting to look very comfortable.
Well,
Canada.
Femling, sorry, went for the same fast shooting routine. It didn't work out for him because of the serious risk when you try to get that first shot away in 11 seconds.
Yeah, and he's had an absolute nightmare. 2 penalty loops for Femling, and that's another 50 seconds or so added to his time, and I'd be surprised if we see the Swedes again. I need a shot of Nellin, Ponsaloma and Samuelsson, because on paper they look as though they could have stopped the Norwegian runner's success, but I think 2 penalties, Mike. No one finished in the top 6 last year here in Kontiolahti with a penalty.
No, and the other athlete on the penalty loop, it's Lithuania. 2 penalty loops for Sweden. That is a horrible start. No wind at all today. It's entirely the pace in which he came in.
Yeah, 3 hits out of 8.
Can you imagine the turmoil now going through his head? The starter for the Swedish team. It went very well first time. He led by 4 seconds, and now he's down in 17th place. So there's no stability there, Patrick. You can see the whole body moving left and right, so the stability that he normally has, it's gone. Oh. Huge speed coming into this left-hander. 50, 55 kilometers an hour down the descent. What a lead Perrault set there, 14.5 seconds as he left the range.
Yeah, that was very impressive. And Sweden dropping from 3rd all the way down to 17th on that last shoot. You can make great gains as well, but not quite as dramatically as you can lose a good position. So Christiansen and Norway in 2, Germany with Strello in 3, 9.8 separating the first 3 teams. Dobjan is there for Slovenia. They're having an outstanding run at the moment. Jakub Fak is next, so they should be able to hold on to a top position, certainly through to the halfway stage. And then Planko on leg 3 for Slovenia. That will be an interesting one. Let's hope he has a good run. 0-0 for Poland. So 10 out of 10 for Nezha. Runnels of Canada. Shame about the standing shoot. Otherwise, he would have been right up with the leaders.
Just looking at the shooting scores, only 5 athletes didn't require spare rounds, 5 out of the 20. And it is a great day, no wind at all. Here comes Pep Femling in the background. It was 1 minute 14. I don't think he's closed that gap very much, if at all. Well, marginally.
The smallest of margins. Sweden having a battle with USA, which they certainly won't have been expecting. And France out front, being chased now by Norway. The margin coming out of the range was 14 seconds, so Christiansen's had an absolute stormer of a loop so far, but I wonder whether he's going to struggle on the final climb up towards the stadium, and that might be a chance for Eric Perrault to pull away again.
Well, Perrault, has he won himself the start slot in the French team for each of the 5 relays this season? I think he might have just done that. Whether he feels good about it or not, there's a lot of pressure. It worked this time.
Yeah, what is he, 21? Comes from AIM. And it's been a very good opening weekend so far. Top 25 in the individual race. Here he is leading the men's relay on leg 1 with only a couple of 100 metres still to go. 6.9 completed. They've got, what, 600 metres to go to the finish. A bit of climbing still to come. Christiansen, very impressive last loop, Mike. He's got the gap from 14.5 down to 3.1 and may well hand over to Ligrid in first place.
I think so. I have to say, Christiansen looking so strong this what we've seen so far. I don't think the 20 kilometre suited him. Up this climb 5 times. Christiansen is a huge athlete, but he's doing a good job today. He'll be in contact with Perrault, maybe move ahead of Perrault into the stadium.
Yeah, I thought his body language looked fantastic. You can see the grimace on a lot of these athletes and the excess upper body movement as they try and generate some speed, but Christensen was still calm, seemed to be breathing fairly lightly, and he's turned that 3.1 second deficit into a 3.1 metre deficit. Is he going to go for the sprint? Is it worth it?
I don't think so. With Fabien Claude second leg, I think Lygrid would be happier just to tuck in behind Claude out of the stadium.
Yeah, Claude and Lygrid were fairly evenly matched in the individual. One was 6th, Lygrid finishing 6th, missing 2. Claude missing 2, finishing 9th. And I guess 30 seconds ski speed between them.
Well, Christensen is restless. He's not happy with second, so Lygrid will take all the headwind in front position. I say the headwind, it's his own headwind breaking into the wind at what, average speed of 25 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, I think that's called apparent wind in sailing. The wind created by your own movement. And Christensen just moves over to his right, find a little space for Lygrid. They'll make sure there's no contact between the poles, nice and clean. Good changeover for the French, and Claude is now away. 14th in the World Cup from last year, up against the number 2. Lygrid finishing second. And certainly he is a contender for the overall this year. Have to avoid any meltdowns like he had in the individual, 0-0-0, and then missed 2 on the last shoot, which was so uncharacteristic. Slovenia, Canada in 5 and 6, Finland 7, the host nation. The Finns have finished on the podium here, but I think you have to go all the way back, not to 2015 or 2005, but to 1995, the last time they got a home podium finish.
I do remember it, I was there. It's a long time ago, isn't it? But the Finnish team is, I think, for me, a team that's growing and stronger each season.
So the first leg completed. Norway, France, Germany, the leading 3. Austria, Slovenia in 4 and 5.
Well, Sweden, what a poor start there from Pep Femling. Beautiful approach to the prone shooting, but he just completely lost it in stand shooting. And now they have a huge amount of work to do.
Femling a 21.8 second shoot on that stand. How do you rank that?
Oh, it's brave.
Dovjan did pretty much the same, but the big teams, Germany 26.2 with Strello, Christensen 30.6 with a missed target, so he had to reload 1. Lygrid will set the pace on the second lap. France and Germany, so pretty much going to form, Mike. We've got teams 1, 2 and 3 from last year in positions 1, 2 and 3.
Well, I think we may... changes can so quickly happen, as we've seen with the Swedish team. And Pet Femling, the amount of time in the range to hand feed those 3 spares, build his position, he took 52.9 seconds on the range. And just sadly a meltdown. I don't think the Swedish team are out of it yet. Of course they're not. They'll be thinking they can still make the podium.
"13 athletes through the 8.7, and as I say it, Lithuania and the Czech Republic just go through that split point. Good runs so far. The French, the Norwegians, the Germans are the 3 teams out the front. Norway with the lead at the moment with Stølleholm. Lygrid setting the pace, and here they are, nothing between the top teams at the moment. And it's this sort of stage you start looking at the anchor legs and thinking, well, if they're level going into that final leg, who's going to win it? It's going to be a massive battle, Mike. Johannes Tingesbø up against Kontiolahti. last year's overall World Cup winner against the man from the year before, and then Roman Rees in the mix as well.
Be very interesting, and of course Johannes Tingesbo placing 12th in the 20-kilometer race. Fillon Maillet finishing 15th, but shooting 2 targets, 2 minutes better. So Fillon Maillet, what we saw 2 days ago, nothing of the athlete he was last year, but I think it'll just come back slowly this season for Fillon Maillet, and probably by Austria next week he'll be back.
Yeah, I think a few people felt that Fillon Maillet didn't push it, having missed 2 on the very first shoot.
Possibly. He just didn't look the sharp athlete, the sparky, explosive athlete that he was all of last year.
It will come, I suspect, in the next couple of weeks. We'll certainly see signs of it. I should think his first aim of the season is Annecy, Le Grand-Ponant. He wants World Championship medals. He's not produced his best at the World Champs in the past. As we see Ukraine and Finland through the 9.4, 7.5 kilometres each leg in the men's relay. So 30k in all. And we'll be looking for a winning time under an hour and a quarter. Could even get down at 1:12 is fairly standard. It was a slow relay at the Olympics, Mike, won by Norway, but the winning time 1:19.50.
Yeah, what a day that was. Conditions at such cold temperatures is always slower, isn't it? And then the wind, they were shooting slower because of the windy conditions. I was just thinking there, Patrick, Jesper Nelen has had to put all his form out on the table in this first 2.5 kilometres. Hopefully that won't unsettle him into the range, but he's running at the same speed as the lead 3.
Well, Sweden were in 18th position. No, 17th position coming out of the range for the second time on that first leg. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of a recovery they can make with Jesper Nelen.
I think this is great to see Slovenia and Jakub Fak there in the top 3. Hopefully he can manage this process.
A miss from France and Norway. Germany with the advantage now. Johannes Kern makes it 5 out of 5.
Yes, sorry, I got that wrong. Fak is in 4th. He's just come in, but he's in the sharp end of the race. I saw Leigrid and Claude just really finding it slow, getting the spare bullets in, losing seconds upon seconds.
Yeah, so suddenly the front 3 are split by over 15 seconds. That's a good lead that Johannes Kern has built up there. France trying to recover. Fabien Claude is the man out in 3rd, just ahead of Austria's Simon Eder. That's a good performance. Haven't mentioned the Austrians so far. They're wearing bib number 9. Komats took the first leg, Eder on the second, then Leitner and Jakob.
So top 5. Nelen's in. He'll try and shoot fast. Well, there's the first one away. Second down. So far, yes, so good.
I'm going to say top 5 for the Austrians would be a good day, I think. Plenty of big teams. Sweden, after the previous day's success, look as though they're going to have to wait for this afternoon to have a chance of getting back on the podium.
Well, that was a good flow and good routine. The first 3 shots fast, accurate, and then was it thinking? Was it running out of air? Probably running out of air. And he had to use a lot of time for those 2 spare rounds. The day gets worse, Patrick. It was 1:16. It's now 1:34 for Sweden.
High right miss for Christiansen. Well, that 5th shot going high right as well.
Look at the time wasted here. The spare round, the gloves are slippy. 1, 2, 3 attempts. Mazet will not be happy.
Johannes Kern. As I mentioned, Germany have only won once since 2017. This could be the start of a very good season, and with home World Championships this year, I'm expecting great things, Mike.
Yes, and the programme, they've been in the ski tunnel in Oberhof, so many hours on skis combined with the roller skis on the World Championships track, and it looks great what they've, I think it was 16 million euros they spent to upgrade the stadium and the tracks.
But can they do anything about the weather?
Fog, mist, wind, we can guarantee all of that, can't we?
It's a hit and miss. It's a hit and miss. But I do remember the last time in 2004, the atmosphere was astonishing. A lot will depend on how much success Germany have between now and then as to how many people turn up. But it's a really, really fun place to be. Partisan, certainly, but it's noisy, it's raucous, and everyone there enjoying, everyone there knowing their biathlon so well.
They do, and the capacity of the stadium has been made much kinder to get your viewing. I think 20,000 in the stadium, 7,000, I should say, out on the tracks. And I think alongside Annecy, it's one of those venues where we feel the atmosphere and the spectators right beside the track most of the way around.
Yeah, the stand and the targets are at 90 degrees, so everyone comes out of there with a sore neck, which is not a good thing. You compare that to Ruhpolding, where the range is pretty close to the stands, and that, you know, all the noise fills the range area.
It certainly does. This is for Kern. He must know that Norway and France will be trying hard to close the gap, but Johannes Kern, his skiing has absolutely improved on paper coming into this season. He missed 4 targets in the individual.
Well, he was 14.8 clear of Lygrid coming out of the range. Lygrid's done some good work there, closed that to 5.6. The French were 20.9 behind. That is going to be significantly less, 15.8, so a good 5-second gain for them. And then Simonader of Austria. Now, I wouldn't expect him to take too much time out of Kern. He was 21, and that's gone to 28.
Well, I think Eder, his strength is still his shooting speed. He has the fastest time in shoot 3, but his ski speed, he's 39-year-old now, so it's not as fast as he was.
Fack has gained a couple of seconds. Good to see Christian Gau of Canada. The Canadians at one stage looked in a strong position in the individual. Christian Gau in the end finishing down in 36th place, 0-0-0, missed 2 on the last shoot, and those 2 minutes cost him, he would have been in the top 15, he ended up down in 36th.
Well, Jesper Nellen, the energy this time, second time up the steep climb, it's slightly less aggressive than his first time, and that's him trying to push the pace. In fact, he has actually pulled, some 5 seconds back off the lead time.
Ponsaloma Samuelsson, they'll be so disappointed, Mike, because certainly the way they ski, they're a match for the 2 Burr brothers for the Norwegian team. Jacqueline Fillon-Maillet, neither of them on their best form. I think the Swedes would have been confident that were they level at halfway, they could have finished out on top. So shoot number 2, leg number 2, Germany versus Norway. Johannes Kern nearest your picture, Lygrid in lane 2. First to miss is Lygrid. Kern, remember, 5 out of 5, very quick in the prone. There's his first miss.
I'm surprised at Lygrid. He had been very positive about his shooting improvement throughout the summer months.
Still advantage Norway, but only just.
Oh, that was a flinch. No. That's unusual. He's normally so calm, so balanced through his body.
Germany are away. Norway. Eventually it goes down, and credit to Ligrid, because as the misses come, they get harder and harder to hit. France with a miss on that 5th shot, Austria with 1 miss so far from Simoneda, but he shot fast. Slovenia and Canada are going up the order. Great performances from them. Canada were down in 6. 4th or 5th for them, I think, after this second shoot in the second leg. But it's Norway back in front, looking to get their 3rd successive World Cup victory. They won here, of course, in March, early March last year. And Gower Canada goes 4. We've got Slovenia 5, Ada of Austria in 6. Not a good shoot.
Well, Jesper Nellen, the Swedish flag there, he's taking his time to first shot.
Sorry, I said Norway were first. It's Kern of Germany who snuck out first, 3 seconds ahead of Norway. France in 3rd. Who dropped down the order on that last shoot? Same 3 teams out front. Austria with Simoneda from 4th down to 6th. Finland came in 7th, went out 7th. USA down in 12, 1 minute and 9. Sweden, another miss on the range. Really, they needed to be perfect shooting. A minute is possible.
Well, Jesper Nellen, he pushed his pace. That wasn't a comfortable pace for him. And he's really trying to pull the Swedish team back in, but at 1:36 now. It's going the wrong way.
Sweden still in 16, so only 1 place gained. This is Germany's Johannes Kern, 31, very experienced. Mark Kirchner watching on. Kirchner now the overall head of German biathlon, Mike.
Yes, he is. He's still there on the scope, though. I thought he would take maybe a sort of stand back overview of the team and the team coaching staff, but he's very much in there, very much for the team.
So France at 15, having been at 16. Ligrid has gone ahead at 13.7, and that's going to be a good battle between Ligrid and Kern. Day off on Friday, tomorrow, so they can get their feet up. Day off, they'll still do a bit of skiing. The teams that have masseurs and physios will no doubt get a little bit of work done just to make sure the body's in tip-top condition.
Yes, and I wonder, well, we'll see tomorrow, will they come back up the range for a little bit of light shooting? Most probably will. Just getting a feel for the sprint and then the pursuit competition. Hey, Finland are doing well today, ranked, 11th? They're up into 7th, only 40 seconds behind. And their 2 stronger cards, I think, on paper, are still to come. The North American teams, Canada, fabulous in 5th. And Doherty now just got the Americans into 11th.
Now, when was it that Kontiolahti first held the World Championships? Was that back in '99?
It was, yeah.
It was bitterly cold. I do remember that. And a couple of the races had to be held in Oslo at the end. But what about the story that when they were voting for the venue that should host the World Championships, everyone thought it was Lahti that was bidding, not Kontiolahti. Is there any truth in that story?
I think there is in the early days, because Kontiolahti, so legend has it. But
and we're racing here, you know, 23 years later. We're still racing at Kontiolahti, and my question is that, you know, that there are fans here, but we never get the support that we see down in Ruhpolding or Oberhof or Antolz, Oslo. You can name any of the venues. They get more support than they do here.
Well, that's always been the issue. It's a very remote location, but I think when you look at the organising committee, in fact, there's still some of the staff in the organising committee this time who were here in 1990 when the first ever World Cup. So you've got this family feeling, this very caring, very calm group of people that organise it so well. And I think it is the Russian factor. There would be 15,000 today if the borders were still open.
That's a very good point. Very good point.
So yes, they would be over to watch both their teams, and Belarus as well. They'd be here, but they're not allowed to race either.
Russia some 40 kilometers away from Kontiolahti, maybe a little bit less than that, as we see Ligrid and Kern locked together, nothing between them. Ligrid has done good work actually, because he's the one who's pushed the pace, and the gap between second and third now sits at just over 22 seconds. So Norway have done Germany a favour by keeping the pace high on that last 2.5 kilometres. We're at the halfway stage of the men's 4x7.5. For Norway, it will be the veteran Tarjei Bø, former overall World Cup winner, who'll then hand on to his younger brother Johannes Tinnis. And then for Germany, it's Benny Doll who will hand over to Roman Rees. On paper, I think you go for the Bø brothers, but I think Germany will be feeling good about the race so far.
Very positive. It's been a wonderful start. I love the way Ligrid allowed Germany to come through, Johannes Kuhn to come through, so that Tarjei Bø will tuck in behind, get the drafting benefits. Yes, Ligrid really punched that last 2.5 kilometres so hard, almost to make up for his errors, his slow shooting on the range.
Yeah, he took over 10 seconds out of Fabian Cloud. Christian Gau was in 5th position for Canada at 14.4. We'll just get a time split on the Canadians as they come in. France are now at 29, so it's been going the wrong way for them. Canada at 42, 5th position ahead of Austria. Again, Ada struggling on the skiing phase, still shooting pretty well. Not his best, but I think he'll be reasonably happy with the way it's gone. Germany in the exchange ahead of Norway, Slovenia 3, France 4.
Well, I think, Patrick, at half distance to still have 10 teams within, well, just over a minute and 1 second. Very exciting. It shows the weaker teams, for me, have closed the gap on the lead teams. Very hard to beat the big money teams, but it's a close race, actually.
Sweden up into 12th, so they've gained some 5 places since the disaster on that second shoot of the first leg with Pepi Femling, and with Ponsaloma and Samuelsson, both who had a good race in the individual, a top 5 is still possible. I think we should have a little wager on that one, Mike. Position that the Swedes will finish. They're 1:37 behind, and they are, what, a minute and 10 off the podium positions.
Okay, I really believe that they'll get back up to 6th quite easily, but I'm still not writing off a podium. So top 6.
We're on to the third leg of the men's 4x7.5, and so far things going pretty well for Germany. Their shooting has been good. They've only missed 4 targets so far, 4 spare rounds required, no penalty loops done. The leading 9 teams have all avoided the penalty loop. Lithuania, the United States, Sweden with 2, Estonia and Kazakhstan are the 5 teams that have paid a penalty so far. The best shooting, Bulgaria, only 1 target missed so far from the 20 taken. So that's really good work from the Bulgarians, and it sees them into the top 7, which would be a PB.
Yes, that is excellent shooting. The worst shooting, of course, is Sweden with 2 penalty loops and 8 spare rounds. I don't think many would have predicted that, actually, at the start of today with the lack of wind on the range. 3 spare rounds. You would expect there to be no penalty loops from teams like Sweden.
Yeah, but I think you nailed it, Mike. You know, Femling was really pushing the pace to stay with the race leaders. Christiansen was punishing everyone, and you have to be bold enough to go at your own pace.
And it makes me think, actually, Patrick, for the next relay, as we see the top of the big climb here, so not long to the range, I think that Swedish coaches will have an opinion that, well, actually, we want to put one of our fast skiers like Kontiolahti Samuelsson on leg 1 and have one of them on the anchor as well, just so that they're not overstressing on that first intense pace into the range.
Yeah, it's a difficult choice, as we see Tarja Bø through 16.9, 600 meters to go until the first shoot in the prone position. Starts to get a little bit tense at this stage, especially when you have a group of 5 only 10 meters apart. Finland, Canada, Bulgaria, the Czech Republic, and not far off the pace. Team 16, that's Lithuania, who've done really well so far. Karol Dombrovski. The business end, and Benny Doll looks pretty comfortable. 3 wins in his career.
Benny Doll, he's such a fighter, isn't he? Not the prettiest on skis. You just feel the balance not quite as easy as Tarja Bø ahead of him, but he really does cover the ground fast, and he is a top-class biathlete.
Tarja Bø, incidentally, 24 relay World Cup wins in his career. If he wins today with the Norwegian team, he goes level with Rico Gross and 3rd on the all-time table, behind Ole-Einar Bjorndalen with 36 and Frank Luck with 26.
Well, in Frank Luck's days, there were many more relays on the programme. Tarja's going for the slower shooting.
Sensible option, I think, at this stage. A miss would have been very costly indeed. Kirchner starting to look a little bit tense. Ziggy Mazet, he's a fairly relaxed personality, isn't he, Mike? But even in these relays, you can just see the anxiety coming across the face. France, can they get 5 out of 5? They can. Good shooting from Emilien Jacquelin, and that will keep France within striking distance of the leaders. 24 seconds, just over 24 seconds behind coming in, and they're still at 24.7.
Austria, Slovenia, that's good going, 5 out of 5.
Canadians with 1 miss. It's Jules Bernot. Didn't think he was quite as convincing last season. Had a very good year the year before. Big tall figure Bernot, wearing the white and red.
And Finland, look at Finland, ranked 11th, now up to 6th. It's Tero Seppala, probably their strongest card on the tracks now.
Still just over a minute separating the top 10. Oh, Ponsalhoma's been pushing the pace. The winner of the individual with 19 hits out of 20 only gets 3 out of 5. Now he's got 3 rounds to clear the remaining 2, but that margin of 140 likely to go up around the 2-minute mark.
Incredible. Well, I thought there'd be a big comeback. It's not over yet. There's still time, but running out of time.
you think Samuelson's asking the coach if he can just do a cruise?
Never. I doubt it. They really need the points here. All these points go towards the Nations Cup points.
Good shooting, very nice shooting from Germany's Benny Doll. Benny Doll, the quickest shot so far on that prone, 26.9. And Norway, as you pointed out, Mike, taking things a little bit slower. A 30-second shoot for Tarjei Bø.
It's quite significant, isn't it, just to lose, throw away 4 seconds. And then
Jacquelin's charging.
Sweden, 53 seconds, Kontiolahti, with those 2 spare rounds used.
6 seconds gained by France in the first 1,200 meters of this second lap on leg 3.
Felix Leitner, Austria, just leading this next train of 3. Seppala still in 6th position.
Lithuania there with Dombrovski, Jules Benoit of Canada.
You just see the snow is breaking up, Patrick. Machine-made snow, large crystals turning sugary and, well, boggy almost. Up the steep hill in places. It goes over the top of the ski.
France still there. 24 seconds coming out of the range. Getting that down to 18 as they went through the halfway stage of the climb. So it'll be interesting to see whether Jacquelin has been able to keep that pace going. If he has, then you'd be a bit nervous if you were a supporter of the French team, because they've still got the standing shoot to go.
Look at Jacquelin in the background. It's intense. He's trying to close it further.
So from 18, what's he managed to do?
And at what cost when it comes to the stand shoot?
Yeah, tempo's really high. Any change in the equipment that you've picked up this year, Mike?
Not really. Still slightly lighter carbon boots allegedly on the market. Everything else much the same. Yes, each brand has brought new stuff out for the Olympics. The rifle, no change. And the risk is some are trying to take it down to the lowest allowable weight at 3.75 kilos. And when it's so light, for me, it's quite risky, because you feel everything. Your heartbeat goes through it more easily, rather than a heavy rifle, which settles easier.
Austria at 52. When they came out of the range, they were at 48. So, to be honest, Leitner is doing okay. He's lost 3.1 seconds only on this lap so far. Finland now at 57.5. They were at 56, so likewise just under a second lost by them. Good battle for the minor places, which could, should these two make mistakes, could become the major places. Tarjei Bø up against Benny Doll. Tarjei Bø more experienced of the two, but Benny's been around a long time. He's won world titles. Should it come to a straight ski race on the last lap of this, I think that'd be interesting.
It would. On paper, you'd feel maybe Tarjei Bø, but Benny Doll is the athlete that will never let go.
Always nice to strike first. They both miss at almost exactly the same time. Germany just fractionally ahead. And Benny Dole clears number 5. The lead, it could be 4 or 5 seconds. In crucial shot, pressure shot there for Talia Beur. And France have closed the gap. Good shooting from Emilien Jacquelin. 17.3 was the margin when he came in. He's only, 5 seconds or so behind Talia Beu. France are back in it, and they have the world number 1 from last year taking their anchor leg. So they'll be very, very confident at this stage. What about 4th place? Finland, Slovenia, France, all competing for that at the moment. Could be a few changes here, Mike. Finland have missed twice, Slovenia have missed twice, Austria have 4 out of 5. Might get a little bit of breathing space.
Well, the issue here is they've all been pushing way outside their comfort zone because of the 3 spare rounds, taking a risk, but it's not really paying off, losing a lot of time in terms of the shooting process.
Number 4 goes wide for Strecki for the Czech Republic.
Oh, Slovenia. Planko, that looks like 2 penalty loops. Very surprised. Sepp Bala, he knows this range better than anybody. Looks like he's on the penalty loop.
Felix Leitner of Austria has done exceptionally well. He's kept the margin exactly the same between himself and the leaders, but probably more significantly, he's now got a 20-second lead over Lithuania and Canada. Nothing rushed. It was a patient shoot from Talia Beu. Oof, there was the miss. They've all been slightly low, slightly left, Mike. What would that indicate to you in terms of the movement of the sights over the rifle?
Yes, I'm just looking. It's as if he's just panicking a little. He moved slightly onto the target, so slight tension. He's just taking trying to get them down faster. Didn't work.
Yeah, shooting, coming up and right with the rifle. So maybe just releasing the trigger just a fraction early.
Yes, anxious, and no wonder with Jacquelin closing the gap. Well, he made a lot of his time, Patrick, on the range. Talia Beu, 40 seconds? Just getting with times here. 40, I think Talia Beu was. 40, and Jacquelin in 29.7. 10 seconds gained.
Yeah, and that shows he's gone from 17.3 to 9.8 and now at 4.8. So it's very, very good work from Jacquelin. This is what he needed to boost his confidence after a disappointing individual where he finished down in 28th position. 4 misses in all. Perhaps the performance of the day so far going to Emilien Jacquelin. And if France do win, he certainly should take some credit for what he's done so far today. Might even come in first place, Mike.
Yeah, you never know, and I just think that Fio Maillet, the anchor leg, he didn't look, for me, that sparky on his skis, but when it comes to a relay and 7.5 kilometers, I think he'll be back at the races. Canada, big respect there. Okay, they were ranked 7th last year. Well, it was actually without Russia there, it was 8th, but now in 5th position.
Well, no, because Canada, 8, I see what you mean. You've taken Russia off it, yes. 8th overall, but their best was 5th, which was in Antolz. And there were quite a few teams who didn't really put top teams in Antolz. Again, the Olympic factor playing a part there as we see Talia Beu just up the rate. Jacquelin behind. Doesn't look as though he's got much closer than the 4 seconds. Actually, Jacquelin paying the price now, Mike, because Talia Beu has really turned it on. He's opened up a gap of 2 seconds over Benny Dole, and there's still another 600 metres of pain to go.
That is brutal. That is so tough. Talia Beu absolutely in form. And Talia wanting as much of a gap here back to Jacquelin, to France, for his younger brother.
That? Look at that, back up to 17 seconds, having got within 4. So it just shows pacing is so important. And if you leave the burst till the end, you can do a lot of damage to someone who's got tired legs.
So really it just now hand over to Johannes Tingesbro, his younger brother, with only one statement: you have to now hold this lead. And I think Johannes Tingesbro will try and open up the gap between especially the French team, which is now, what, 18 seconds?
Does Ries need to fear Johannes Tinges, considering that he finished 4th in the individual and the Norwegian was down in 12th?
I think it's, but the shooting, of course, needs to be taken into account. But so I think that we'll see Johannes Tingesbro out skiing the German by some, even today at 30 seconds. It's a huge margin. I would expect that. Look at Benny Dole, never gives up. He's coming back, he's coming back. He didn't like the hill, but he likes the flats.
Yeah, he's got a good, strong double pole, starting to close in on the Norwegians now. Might even just nip through on the inside to give Germany the lead going into the final leg. But that's good work. We need to keep an eye on the French. Don't forget that Kontiolahti, the world #1, is going last for France. They're a shooting range apart. You can just see Jacquelin coming down behind the firing point. 17 seconds last time we saw. I think he might have lost a couple more in the closing stages, but it's Germany and Norway who head out on the final leg together. An hour on the clock exactly as they go through 7.5K, 10 targets to go. And former world #1 Johannes Tingesbro up against Kontiolahti for France and Roman Ries of Germany, who's right on his shoulder. France out in 3, 23 seconds. That was a painful last kilometre for Emilien Jacquelin. So quite a margin between 2 and 3. Austria have done exceptionally well. Their best result last year, the Austrians, was well, actually they finished 5th here in Kontiolahti, so there's something about this course that they like, but they generally at the beginning of the season they're finishing in 16th, 17th position.
Yes, it didn't work out at all in the early races last year. Some ill health, but definitely an improved team this year. Alongside Lithuania, really have improved. They're ranked 16th. They're still in, well, have they dropped back a little? Yes, still in 5th position. And Sweden's days, we really missed that. Ponce Loma was on the penalty loop. At last check, he was 2 minutes 59 behind.
Yeah, Sweden back down into 16th place. Out front, Johannes Tingesbro setting the pace. Roman Ries is hanging on in there.
If he does, Patrick, Roman Ries will suffer if he tries to stay with this pace. Certainly on the last lap.
Yeah, that climbing ability of Johannes Tinges. First two teams through the 23.7 kilometre mark. It's a 30k race, so you can work out exactly how far we've got to go. And 2 shoots still remaining. The first in the prone. Keep your eye on Ries's target. France with Phil Maillet still at 30, having taken over at 23, so the pace up front is brutal.
Do you know, Patrick, that's slightly concerning for Phil Maillet, because that's a very easy part of the track. You start, yes, he nearly tripped over his ski pole as he exited the stadium area, but you wouldn't expect a huge margin of 7 seconds in this easy terrain. Now the terrain gets tougher. We'll have to wait and see if that gap opens further. Yeah.
Unless he learnt from his teammates' mistakes and decided to take the first lap just a little conservatively. Certainly Emilien Jacquelin. He lost a lot of time in that last loop, but he still produced the quickest time on leg 3, Mike. 19:51. Taribo 5 seconds over that. Dole 5.4. And Leitner of Austria, a really good run. 28 seconds outside the best time on leg 3.
Pretty good, pretty good. Johannes Tingesbo, he's making this look like easy Sunday skiing, but it's rapid.
Yeah, he's looking very light on the climbs in particular. Done a lot of training, as we mentioned 2 days ago. He's got himself a roller skiing treadmill in the house. The idea is that he can train and be at home more often. It also allows you to do very controlled training, Mike, which I think nowadays is what you're after.
I think so. If you set that treadmill on, say, 8% incline and just work on your technique, you can video it, you can just feel exactly what your body's going through at, say, a pulse of 160. And it really has, it seems to have paid off for Johannes Tingesbo. There's Moldova just being lapped. They're pulling out now. Nowhere to go, actually, on this hill.
France from 30 seconds to 33.5. It's all going the wrong way for the French team, the silver medalists from the Olympic Games.
Interesting, the interview we saw with Fillon Maillet. He wants everything. He wants every cup. Main focus really is the World Championships, but at the moment, he'll be asking himself some questions. He would have wanted to feel a little stronger, I think, at this moment.
It's a long season. Now with every race counting towards the World Cup title, can't afford to give away too many points early season. In the past, the worst 3 results have been taken away. So if you sat out a round of the World Cup for health reasons or just to let the body recover, it didn't really do too much damage, but that's not the case anymore. So first shoot, final leg, and Johannes Tingesbo will be as aware as anyone else that it is the prone shooting that has caused him issues over the last 12 months. Missed 2 in the first prone shoot of the individual. Of course, he has the 3 spare rounds this time.
He wanted that third shot just to keep Fillon Maillet away.
Rapid drills. Down it goes, and he will maintain a lead. How slim will it be? This last shot is important for Roman Rees. He's thrown it wide, and suddenly he is aware that the French have arrived on the firing point. Well, that changes the psychology of the race, and that miss is going to push the margin to around 10 seconds. He won't be able to feed off the speed of the Norwegian.
Super locked in tight there for Fillon Maillet, but missing the second.
Things are starting to spread out after a very, very tight race. 14 seconds separating the top 2. This is important. No, it's gone wide again.
Well, certainly not the man he was last season, but never write him off.
Slightly surprised that the chasers, Austria, weren't on his case. But Austria, certainly, if you'd offered them 4th at the start of the day, they would have snapped your hand off.
They certainly would. Jakob, not their strongest. In fact, they've put their weakest last, I would say, the Austrian team. Fillon Maillet will not be feeling great right now, Patrick. He came into the range 33 behind. He's exited the range 51.7 behind.
Jakob losing 30 seconds on that first loop. Well, that's good shooting. That's very good shooting. The first athlete to clear 5 with 5 on this final prone shoot of the race. Johannes Tingesbo is away. He shot pretty quick, actually. We'll get the readouts. His margin 14.6 seconds, increased his lead by 4 seconds.
we're watching the shooting, Patrick, the equal fastest athlete on the track is Samuelsson. So Samuelsson skiing at the same pace. He's coming in now, skiing at the same pace as Johannes Tingesbø. Nobody else could live with that pace.
Yeah, he's got the deficit down to 3 minutes and 3 seconds.
You couldn't really make that up prior to today, that Sweden would be so far back, and especially such a time margin, over 3 minutes behind on the last leg.
So a margin of, what do you think, 14 seconds coming in. I think it's going to be closer to 30, but by the time they come in for the final shoot, it's 20 at the moment, and 20 seconds is a comfortable 2 misses. So I think you can almost say, Mike, that as long as Norway don't do a penalty loop, the win is theirs.
It feels that way. And you mentioned how fast Johannes Tingesbø reloaded the weapon. Definitely, look at that, spare round out, in, ball forward, job done.
7 seconds. 7 seconds between one miss and the next hit. .57 now for France. Their chance of winning has pretty much gone. Nothing to say that Germany won't make mistakes on this final shoot. 40 seconds just about between them. And Johannes Tingesbø, I think, probably being told exactly where he is. You've got 20 seconds to play with. Does he push the pace and try and take that up to 30 and give himself another spare round that really will count for nothing? Or does he calm down and try and hit 5 with 5?
I think he'll back it off. He has the time to play with. He'll back it off a little bit. But I'm just amazed at how much better he looks this year. He was exhausted last year, and taking his break, saying, nope, I'm not doing any more World Cups. Still three World Cups remaining. Went back home and did exactly what he needed to do, get away from biathlon for a couple of months. I think now this is where Roman Rees will begin to feel the pain of, he tried to stay with Johannes Tingesbø on the first lap, so he's extending his normal livable pace in a 7.5 race, so it catches you later. It doesn't just catch you the next lap, but certainly this lap and the second lap he'll be feeling a little less sparky.
27.2. He was 26 ahead at the bottom of the hill, so Rees losing another second on the first bit of that climb. So it's all going Norway's way. This could be their 58th World Cup win. They're streaks ahead of any other team. But I do remember, Mike, sort of early days, certainly in the late 90s, the relay was the one event that the Norwegians struggled in.
It always amazed me, actually. They had a depth and a strength, but the team wasn't as gelled as it is. They were very much individuals, and that was led by the Norwegian coaches. Brought in the foreign coaches, and they've kept the team a lot tighter.
Yeah, and really it all changed in, what, 2002, Salt Lake City?
Yes, it did. The new staff coming in. And Ole Einar still going on to, what, past 2014, incredible. The length of career he stayed with the team. And Ole Einar was a huge part in the sort of success in terms of relays, etc., for the Norwegian team.
7 misses so far for Norway. No penalty loops. If they keep it that way, then victory, you feel, has to be theirs. Johannes Tingesbø likes to do things in style. I think we could see a rapid 5 with 5.
Well, you set it up well.
Wow. Oh, to be able to do that. And that is absolutely the perfect way to slam the door in the face of the Germans, because Ries can do nothing about it now. Away goes the quickest skier on the tour. A beautiful shoot just to finish things off. And Germany now have to switch from chasing to defending. France aren't that far behind, and more than one mistake and Ries could be in trouble. Oh, little bit of tension, just broke the rhythm slightly. Let that one go a little bit earlier. Needs this.
Oh, look at the rifle
shaking.
Yeah,
he's shaking.
Panic setting in.
And France now, something special from Fiormaillet. That might liven it up. He's got
trying.
4 to go. No, he's missed. He's got to go for it.
Incredible, isn't it? Just that slightly different form feel. You can't take the same risks. You'd have got all 5 this time last year.
So the chase is on. I think you've either got to say that Fiormaillet isn't on form, which is why he's lost time, or you say he's just been saving himself for this lap. We hope that is the case, because it would be a good chase. At 55, it's quite a big margin, 18 seconds. That's a tough ask for Fiormaillet, but on his best form last year, I think he would have had a crack at that.
You know, he definitely would have. He'd have gone out there with more impetus. There's something missing. I don't know whether it's the preparation on the base of the skis. There's something missing so far this season for Fiormaillet.
Austria are over 40 seconds clear of the Czech Republic, so unless they have an absolute meltdown, they should finish 4th. As you said, Mike, Jakob is probably the weakest one in the Austrian team.
He's good on the range.
That's a good shoot. That's a good shoot.
He's a safe anchorman in terms of shooting, but you need ski pace as well. Do you know what? There's Samuelsson already. He really is hunting down. Samuelsson, you know, if he gets a 5 out of 5 rapid, and he certainly can when he's on sharp form. There he goes.
Top 5. Guess it's still possible. It's respectable. Important points. 4 out of 4 for Slovenia, 2 out of 2 for Sweden at the moment. A miss from Finland will push them down. Samuelsson throws number 3 wide, and Slovenia are on the chase for a top 6 if they can get their act together on that last 2.5 kilometre loop. So 1 miss for Samuelsson. That's another 6-7 seconds gone. And I think probably top 7 is all they can hope for at the moment. But Tursan and Hidden Salu of Slovenia and Finland will not be happy that they have Samuelsson on their heels.
I think
Lutsenko of Ukraine in 9th.
Incredible. I think Samuelsson is going to take all of those ahead of him, maybe even as far back as team position 6 at the moment. Fomin.
Business as usual for the Norwegian team. Mike Christiansen, Leigrid, Bø and Johannes Tingesbø wrapping it up. I think Sturlaholm Leigrid, the only one who'll be disappointed with his performance.
Two races in a row, Patrick. The first 2 races, Leigrid, who certainly from what I'd heard and seen, I thought he'd come in so anchored on his rifle, but a little restless today again on his rifle, Leigrid. He'll turn that around tomorrow, I'm quite sure. Johannes Tingesbø, the luxury of being able to just back off for once in his life in a race. He's enjoying it.
And it's still quicker than 99% of us can ski. His balance is amazing. I was thinking that the treadmill, it has its advantages, but one thing that you lose is that ability to balance, because the surface is the same every time, and that's certainly not the case on snow.
Yes, I suppose comparable to, you know, the indoor cycle supports, those who have got springs and devices to simulate the movement. Very hard to do on a massive treadmill where you're on your roller skis. Have you ever seen Johannes Tingesbø waving at fans with, what, nearly a kilometre to go?
Roman Rees, I think, was not relishing a challenge with Phil Maillet over the last lap, but a miss from the Frenchman has put him too far behind, and Phil Maillet is not on the chase, no doubt about that. The margin coming out was 18 seconds, and I think we're going to be closer to 23, 24 seconds between second and third by the time Rees comes through this checkpoint. He's still on the charge. Technique's still there, Mike. Nice high tempo. Looks light.
Yep, looking much smoother this time.
Well, it's an easy stroll into the Kontiolahti Stadium for Johannes Tingesbø, wrapping up the work by the rest of the squad. Christiansen led it off. Lightgrid, despite misses, still kept Norway in the top two. Terje Bø was solid on the third leg. Johannes Tingesbø, well, not far off perfect. He did miss one, but his standing shoot was fast. His reloading very, very quick. And that is win number 58 for Norway. It's win number 25 for Terje Bø, so he's third in the all-time list of most successful relay biathletes. And that's a little mark. He probably wasn't aware of that at the start of the day. And Norway getting their season off to the perfect start. They won 4 of 5 last year. They've won 1 of 1 so far this year. Germany, I think they'll be happy that they were competitive.
I think they'll be delighted, and you know, only once did they achieve a second position in the relay last year. They've done it already this season, and this is looking very bright for the German team.
Yeah, that will get the German fans. That's what they need. I think they'll be buying a few tickets for Oberhof and the World Championships in February, and I'm not sure we're going to see any empty seats in the stadium. France third, 105. The gap in the end, coming out of the range after the last shoot, France were 113 behind. So Norway wrap it up. Germany a very good second, and France in third.
Sjåfør, det var du gjør det enda mer, men du begynner med det.
Du begynner med show, og så må du...
And then I start to shoot, and then after the third.
Johannes, congratulations. First relay of the season, a radio win for Norway. How does it feel to be so strong once again?
It feels good, especially with a new team setup. It was, like we predicted in front, fast track, shooting will be important. but it was tight still, even though it was a gap in the end. So a fun relay.
You pushed really hard with your skiing parts. Was that your strategy?
It came by itself because our skis were magnificent. So it was no too many push I had before I had a gap, and from there I can do my own race. So a big thanks to the Wexman today. Shooting as well has been good, but without the skis, maybe not a victory.
Well, congratulations to you and the whole team then.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
coming from Jonas qualified here in Germany of the Ultimate World Cup Biathlon presented by BMW. Trophies are handed over by the member of the ticketing board of Hockey News, Mr. Ture Bergard, and the mayor of Joensuu, Mr. Kontiolahti. Third on today's competition, France. Elfero Kontiolahti from Japan, 1-1 Team Germany, Justus Trelov, Johannes Kuhn, Fredrik Johannes.
Hässliche Hose.
Ja, aber die mobben mich. Das ist ein Kopf kleiner.
Eine anständige Ordnung ist der vor.
Bist du noch neutral gehalten?
Alle Tische belegt. Oh, thanks.
The winner of the season opening relay, Team Norway. Bästa startare Christian.
Ah non, on les a battus l'année dernière.
Ja,